they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, he was texting me on Instagram. He like followed me recently. And I'm just like, this is so embarrassing. Like, why would you sit here and say something like that? And this guy has a whole girlfriend. Today, I want to do a video about signs of like narcissistic personality signs. You know, you have to be a professional to diagnose someone with NPD, but you know, people do have the narcissistic personality traits and not necessarily the personality disorder. And I figured, since I've met so many people, friends, roommate, family members with, you know, different traits, that like I might as well just like make a video, because it sounds like people are literally friends with the same person, dating the same people. So I figured, why not do a little list of things that I've observed. Some of these are probably like on the website too, like if you do research, and very interesting stuff. Like, it's just crazy, like when you meet people and then you're just like, oh my gosh, like this person is so interesting. I also have some example footage too, well, not footage really, but like, you know, pictures and stuff. And yeah, because it's just like some of the stuff, sometimes like things are just so subtle, like the little signs, but it's just like once you start clocking the movements, it's just like the last person I met like that, I literally clocked them in under 24 hours. I'm like, I know exactly what this is going to be like. I understand the situation. Yeah, I really do. But yeah, so today we're gonna do some of the, and after going through the last video, I realized some of these are kind of like, it's not the neatest list. It's really like, okay, like everything like coming to my mind, it's like a list of 40 things. But yeah, but first on the list, yeah, trauma bonding. There is a difference between connecting on an emotional level and bonding with trauma. I noticed that like typically you need to watch what you say around people with these traits, because typically they don't really know how to connect with people on an emotional level. So what they will do is take gossip and like recycle it through different things. And I noticed too that they have multiple friend groups. So if you like share something very personal with them, like, oh my gosh, like my parents are fighting and you know, I'm like really having a hard time, or like you know, another person says that their boyfriend cheated on them or whatever in the group, or a rotational group, they like to have one-on-one conversations. They don't really like to be in groups of people. Like, even if they do hang out in a group setting, they typically like to do those one-on-one meets, and then like they would just like recycle the information. They love to narrative twist too, so you need to have receipts, have them CC'd in on things, especially if you work with these people, because you know, just in case, like the last thing you want to do is get fired or put on a watch list or something, because you know, yeah, these are the first people that are hired, mind you. 90% of the time they can't really do the job or perform the job, but because they tend to work well with the preset like systematic parameters for the job hiring process, they get through so easily. But then there's like people that are literally like capable of doing the job, that actually have the skill and talent to even like progress the role and like evolve the team dynamic. They actually can't really like get through, or typically get booted out the system at some point. Sometimes the ATS system will just kick them out. And I've noticed this too, because I've seen like so many talented people like in group dynamics, tutors that I had, and like they weren't some of the first people to get jobs. Like they were like, one of my tutors recently just got a job. Just like recently. This guy is very talented, like very creative, like, and also like he understands people and analytics, can do coding, like literally he's just like all in one house. And I'm just like, why weren't you the first pick? But that's how society works. And like, oh my gosh, someone was talking about this on LinkedIn too. I'm not LinkedIn, TikTok too. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is literally so true. I have like so many videos to watch. But yeah, anyway, but yeah, they like to recycle gossip. I'm always shocked that nobody ever finds out this like whole system. Like, I've seen so many people do this, and I'm just like, how do you still have friends? Because like there's no. You try that, you do something like that with them, like they were like, how dare you? They want you to take accountability when they feel slighted and wronged. They want you to acknowledge their feelings and emotions, and if it's not acknowledged in the way that they want, like they are definitely going to hold a grudge about it, and they're going to make sure that you know. But see, that's the thing though too, it's just oh my gosh. Yeah. So if they're going through a time and like they need a friend and like they're feeling, down, they're typically going to want to like trauma bond with you, or but it's never just like, oh my gosh, I totally understand. You're going to see them like do that nod, like, yeah. They can actually like reach you on an emotional level. Like you're going to know. You can't feel them, like they can't reciprocate that, like when you really like have a good conversation with someone and you can like intellectually and emotionally, like you're just like, oh my gosh, like I feel you, I feel your pain. They can't do that. They don't have the ability to truly step into someone's like mental or emotional shoes. Like they just can't. Yeah, so like make sure, I hope I explained trauma bonding well, but it's like typically you just bond on your woes, like never anything good, like, oh my gosh, I just got an A on my test, or like, I just got that job offer. It's like, congratulations, I just got mine 2 hours ago. Like they can't, like no, it's more so like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, tell me why. Okay, so like recently, here's an example of trauma bonding. Okay, like I'm not name dropping anyone. I'm just gonna say this is a really good example of like trauma bonding, because I literally like heard my roommate doing this, but she was like on the phone with like one of her like friends or whatever, and they were talking about how like when they have insecurities or whatever, and they were just like, oh my gosh, and they share it with a person, and like they get very vulnerable, and then they were like, oh yeah, you do that, and I was just like, that's so interesting. And then they were just talking about like, oh my gosh, that just like that is just like so like, wow, thank you so much, like that's like it really like hurts their feelings and slides them. But because again, image is like very important to them, like how they're perceived, and like they feel like a lot of the times they feel like that they're not like nurtured enough. And like this girl literally said, it was like, I feel so like maternal towards us right now, like that is trauma bonding right there. And like I am just like, oh my gosh, like look, my suspicions have been right from the start, but it's just like, oh my gosh, like this is just like so interesting. But yeah, it's just like I just like, why do I keep meeting these people? Like this is why I'm like making the video. It's like, okay, like I'm not trying to like shame anyone or anything for B traits, but like you can just tell like there was a pattern from like where this starts, and they say that like a lot of personality disorders are actually like developed with like the home life. And I noticed like when she talks to her mom, it's very interesting. Like you would assume that she's like in an interview session, like. And like even when she's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come home, like I'm so excited, I really can't wait to she's like, I'm so excited, I really can't wait to come home, I can't wait to see you guys. And it's like, it sounds very rehearsed and like very like emotionally detached, but and then like the way that her mom speaks to her, you would assume like, oh, like I'm like being like extra quiet, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know if I can like hear her sometimes, she can probably hear like me and my music sometimes. And then I'm just like, yeah, I didn't know that was the family. And mind you, I met her mom once too during move-in. I'm like, I didn't remember her sounding like that. Like she literally sounded, I don't know. I've had roommates of all cultures, and I'm just like, I have never heard anyone talk to their parents like that. Like, it's just like, it just sounded so like corporate America. Like, everybody has their corporate America voice. Like, hi, how are you? Yeah, it's giving that. It's not very like, you know, warm or anything. It's like very like, you can just tell like it's warm in their own way. Like they have like a special one. Okay, that's for later. Anyway, number 2, there's inflated sense of importance. Typically, the inflated sense of importance, they like to be the center of attention. They think everyone's watching them. They think that they are the star, and at least in their mind, they're the star. But the moment that there's like somebody in the vicinity that's disrupting that is a problem. It's just like, oh my gosh, how can I, like, you know, it's like hard for them to like keep up their like facade, like, you know, because when you have authenticity in the room and then you have a mask in the room, you're gonna notice. Number 3, we're always seeking worship and praise. So like my previous roommate, she like did this, like, I don't know, I wouldn't really say that like, she had some traits too. Because she's the example. Because, okay, so she had a hometown friend that came to visit, and she was in a sorority, and so I had a lot of sorority roommates, so like you wouldn't really know who's who. But yeah, so she had a hometown friend visiting, and they were getting ready to go to formal, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, you look so beautiful, like, you know, like, I love their dresses, like, they both look really nice. And I was just like complimenting them, and so I complimented my roommate first, and she was just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, like, thank you so much, like she was just enjoying, like, she was getting high off my compliments. And I was like, okay. I was like, oh my gosh. I usually try not to compliment people only because like I meet people with these personality traits so often that it's just like, I'm not looking to be your hype man and like blow smoke up your ego. And yeah, I'm looking for authentic connections, you know. But yeah, and then when I complimented her friend, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I like your dress too. Like, you look so lovely as well. I was making like fancy like dipped strawberries or whatever. And the friend, she was just like, you know, like, oh, thank you so much. Like, you can just tell like she's like, she seemed more humble and nice. And then like my roommate, you can just tell like her face kind of like went like low key like sour, like, why is she getting a compliment? Like, it just like almost made it just seem like, you know, like the attention was just like taken off of her. But it's just like, you know, like, you both look nice. That's why I said what I said. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, like, that's not really girl energy. And I'm like, you know, you need to, like, I'm surprised people don't notice this. My current roommate had her friend come visit though too, but see, their personalities are a little bit different. Like, the current roommate and the last roommate, like, honestly, they're so similar in ways that, like, there's just, like, I don't know. That's another, like, video. That's just interesting because, like, my sorority roommate, she was just like, okay, if she didn't like you, like, she's gonna show, like, it's gonna really reflect through her demeanor. But, like, this roommate, she likes to kind of, like, hide behind a mask more. Anyway, it is just so interesting because it's just, like, how do you end up with, like, 2 roommates that are literally from the same major? The other one graduated, so she was, like, a little bit older. And then, like, the current roommate, I think she said that she was, like, 20. But then at the same time, it's just, like, you say that you're 20, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. This is just interesting. Everybody's different. Like, I feel like after a certain point, like, once you get into, like, your later teen years, there's, like, a divergence between, like, how mature you are. Okay, well, I wouldn't really say late teens, but, like, once you start getting into, like, your 20s, like, that's when you start, like, one person may be a very mature 20, and then the next person is like, they're giving like they're 20, but it's more so like an immature 15. Like, that just sounds, oh my gosh. Yeah, but they're giving like an immature like 15. It's giving like, really? Okay. I mean, like, I wouldn't compare myself at 20 to like her 20 because like we're like 2 different personality types, and like I've always been kind of like a lone wolf kind of person. Number 4, they gravitate towards nurturing energy / empaths. So if you have like any kind of like nurturing vibes, they're gonna gravitate towards you. They're gonna want to get to know you, want to be friends with you. make you a self-appointed counselor or slash therapist, like, you know. Yeah, I'm always like, the people like literally like seek me out and like make me their like therapist. I'm like, girl, you need to go to actual therapy. And I'm like, you know, trying to encourage them, and they're like, no, you're better though. And I'm like, I'm not a professional though. Like, you need real help though. Like I'm, you know, oh my gosh, yeah. So, you know, that encouragement, like really trying to like get people to like go and like find their therapeutic person that's truly licensed, a real professional. I mean, like, the most I can do for you is give you advice. If you don't like the advice I give you, like, you don't have to take it, free will. And also, it's like, you know, when you're dealing with things, and like, again, most people, they just don't like to reflect or like process things. Like me, I like to figure out like, oh my gosh, like, why do I keep meeting these people? Like, what's going on here? What am I supposed to learn? So that's why I'm making this video, because I'm just like, okay, I met so many of like these personality types to the point I'm just like, maybe I'm supposed to share something with the world, maybe a book or something. Okay, number 5. So they feel misunderstood / nobody sees their greatness. So again, it goes back into that like self-importance and inflated ego. Like, they're just like, you know, like, oh my gosh, like, it's me, I'm the center of attention, like, you know. But yeah, you can just tell like by how they move and how they like walk and like flex, and it's like, you know, yeah. Some people are really pulled in by this energy though too, but you have to pay attention to the personality types that like they are able to draw in, because typically they're not they're just as shallow as they are, but they're like not fully like, I don't know, it just depends. Like, sometimes they switch with like the like wanting to, like, they want to be the center of attention, they want to have that leadership role, they want to be in control of the narrative and the vibes, like they want to be seen as the connector, if you will. But sometimes, like, when they are in a dynamic where there's other people that are overpowering them, they'll operate into like the narcissistic understudy. So like they still have those traits, but they're less like, they're not going to challenge someone that they see that is above them, like, you know, because they don't want to be like a social outcast or anything like that, because, you know, yeah. This is just something I noticed. But yeah, definitely share your experiences in the comment section, because I'm like really curious to like know other people's stories. Yeah, their greatness is typically their facade that they wish was super, super real. And you know, it would be great, but once you start noticing that mask slip, like when there's authenticity in the vicinity, yeah, that's a problem. They're gonna want the authentic person to try to tone it down so they can like try to, you know, measure up. And they're always in competition with someone that's probably on the list, but you know, I'm just saying, yeah, they're like never not in competition. Competition is always a thing. I have like so many examples about that. Like, okay, so like one of my guy friends from high school, oh my gosh, there was this one guy that I just thought was like so interesting. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder who this person is. Like, you know, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this person just seems so interesting. He like assumed, like, mind you, this friend said that he was like, you know, he came out at the time and he was like, yeah, I'm gay. But like this person that was just like, oh my gosh, this person seems like so cool and interesting. You know, when you like meet somebody that like feels like a soulmate or whatever, and you're just like, even from a distance, like you just like know, like, I don't know, like this person, like they kind of remind me of myself. Like they're kind of like self-reflecting. It's just like, yeah, it's just like very interesting. You're just like, I want to get to know you. Like, who are you? I'm curious about you. It's like that kind of thing. Not really like, oh my gosh, I want to date you, I want to marry you. Like, it wasn't like that, you know? But yeah, but for some reason they took it that way. And then they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, he was texting me on Instagram. He like followed me recently. And I'm just like, this is so embarrassing. Like, why would you sit here and say something like that? And this guy has a whole girlfriend. Like, I literally seen this guy with his girlfriend, and like so many times, like, it's not even on that energy. It's just like, he just seems like energetically familiar. I thought he was interesting, and it would be cool to get to know him platonically. But it's just like that jealousy and that competitiveness that really just comes out. It doesn't matter, man or woman. Like, these people will compete with you. Oh my gosh. Any kind of way that they can. Like, literally. This guy, his mom, like, looked really, really young and stuff. Like, okay, if she wore Gen Z attire, like, we literally did put her in Gen Z attire, and she literally looked like she could, like, blend in and be, like, you know, a Gen Z girly pop. And, like, he would always take pictures with his mom all the time. Again, like, his mom, very attractive. The whole family is attractive. Be for real. But, like, yeah. But, like, basically, mind you, this guy and his brother used to model too when they lived in Canada. When I tell you, beauty runs in the family. Okay, but yeah, one of the guys that he had a crush on he was just like, oh my gosh, who is that? She's so fine, I want to talk to her. The guy was talking about his mom. And then he was just like, that's my mom. You can just tell, like, he just felt so slighted and, like, jealous. Just like, why are you looking at her and not at me? Like, it was, again, that competition. It's like, oh my gosh, my current roommate. A lot of my friends that have come over, like, they've noticed that, like, she would, like, make weird faces, like, you know, like, they're being polite and, like, trying to say hi, and it's just like, hey, how are you? And then she's like, hi. Like, you know, she has, like, that face of just, like, I don't know, it just seemed like people made her uncomfortable. The last roommate was kind of like that too. But, like, so I really didn't have, like, people over, but she didn't have people over either. So I was just like, cool, like, okay, look, if you don't really want to have people over, and I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not really gonna have people over, because, like, okay, I really just, like, got a friend group, like, that I was, like, actively, like, I didn't really have time for socializing like that. So, you know, there's really, like, no big deal of, like, it wasn't like I did have people over, but, like, typically sometimes, like, when she was, like, away out of the space, I would just, like, tell her, like, hey, I have someone coming over, I have some friends coming over. And then she was like, you had people over? She didn't know, because, like, I clean up so well, like, you know. And then she was just like, are you sure? It's like, because the place was torn up. Not literally. No damage physically, but I'm just saying, you know, out of order, out of place. But, yeah. But, yeah. But the current roommate, yeah, she, like, makes, like, weird faces. But when she has guests over, she wants me to, like... She just, like, she doesn't have that energy, doesn't have that face. And I'm just like, at first I thought people made her uncomfortable. But it's like, no... me having a social life and, like, people over makes her uncomfortable. And, like, her friend group, like, compared to mine, you can just tell she has that friend group that's similar to my one friend from high school. She mentioned too, like, early on, like, when I first met her, she was just like, oh yeah, I have, like, 3 friend groups or whatever. And I was just like, she has a rotational friend group. Typically that's a sign though too, because, like, they don't know how to form those emotional connections. So being in surface level friend groups where they can't really, it's not a requirement for you genuinely to have, like, that emotional mental connection. As long as you participate, you hang out, and you try to, like, meet up and, like, you know, get together or whatever, like, you're cool with them or whatever, and, like, you know, you fit their aesthetic. Typically they're very image based, like, you know, like, if you fit the aesthetic, like, you're good. But when it comes to, like, you know, times where you're like vulnerable and, like, you're going through something, you don't really have anyone to, like, open up to. And, like, even if you try to, like, make it like that, they don't really, like, they're like, emotions, ill. Emotions, disgusting. Emotions, I can't understand you. Too emotional. That sounds so deep. No, I'm kidding. Okay, but, like, no, it's like that. It's just like they're like, oh my gosh, like, waiting for a response, and it's just like when they don't get that validation, when they don't get that connection that they're looking for, it is like it's just like, oh my gosh, like, it's just like they're trying to, like, figure out, like, they try to purposely, like, probe people to react and emotionally nurture them in specific ways, to the point that it's just like very interesting. And it's just like when they need that self-soothing, and it's just like they probably tried this at home, they probably do this often at home, because like you can just tell like her, my roommate and the current roommate and my friend from high school, like they have the exact same like mother-child dynamic. So the moms are like very like over nurturing, to the point that they're trying to like make up or overcompensate for some type of lack that occurred, like whether it's like, you know, like the father being like overly like an overly like cold, like masculine figure, they're going to like make up for it by being like overly like a overly nurturing feminine figure. So like giving them extra nourishment to make up for the dad's extra coldness and harshness. So like it'll be something like that. Or, you know, it could be that they felt that their parents were very hard on them, so they're going to do that soft parenting style and like go super soft with them. But, you know, you can't, different styles work for different children. I know, because I'm the oldest sibling and like we all have like different personalities, and it's just like, you should have, you know, you needed to try a different approach with that one. But yeah, it's just like, so I'm pretty sure you guys can probably tell that like I was like, oh, one of those kids that are like just highly observant, taking in, you know, people. It is true that people like notice. It's not about what you say, it's about what you do. People are noticing that. We are observing actions. But yeah, but it's so important, because like, I mean, if you're in business, like you need to understand how like different personality types, and especially in like marketing and like communications, like that's like literally like, I have to know this stuff. I have to understand people on a deep level, because how can I market? How can I resell a product? How can I ever like do anything and connect with people if I'm not like, you know, understanding them? Number 6, they never really stay single, and they speak to many people. Typically, once they start dating, they never stop dating, like ever. So like if they start dating at 14 years old, they're pretty much like never going to be single. Like their single phase may be 2 or 3 months. Their single phase may literally just be them not being in a fully committed relationship. But again, they're still like speaking to people, talking to people, and like getting that, you know, attention in some type of way. Like they just can't stop. I was told by my roommate, we had a third roommate the previous semester, you know, yeah, not cool. Mind you, literally they're out here playing house in the apartment. I didn't know the guy was a freshman, which makes so much more sense. So she was like, oh yeah, he's 18. And then like she's a junior and she's like 20. And then so she was like, yeah, but I don't know, she was like, yeah, he's from my hometown and like whatnot or whatever. But anyway, every time she has guests, she was like very, very messy. Okay, that is, oh my gosh. Okay, but she like never stayed like single. And like I noticed like he just had to do the bare minimum. Like the first day that he walked in to the apartment, like I don't know, it's just like, oh, like maybe like I don't know who this person is, but like after the first couple of times, you can just tell like, because I remember she said like when we first met, like she's like, oh yeah, I recently started talking to this guy and whatnot or whatever, and I was just like, oh okay, which was interesting. And we're just like, she just started talking to him? Okay. But, yeah, but you can just tell, like, he was doing that thing that guys do, like, when they're, like, with a female and they're, like, trying to, like, they're, like, measuring her to see, like, how she fits, how they're gonna treat her, like, are you girlfriend material, are you wifey material, like, could I potentially end up with you long term, are you just sneaky link material, you're just hit it and quit it energy, like, these guys know exactly how to treat people. And like you can literally, I was telling my mom this though too, because I listen to like a lot of people talk about their stories, even with like DV, like domestic violence, and they specifically know exactly what type of females to go for, because you just keep scrolling through so many stories, you're gonna like start noticing that there's a pattern. And like once you like, you know, when you're actively listening to these stories, you're going to know like, oh yeah, the guy specifically like he's vetting for certain personality traits. You can even watch on like these Fatal Attraction shows too. One of the ladies, she mentioned this one lady. Oh, to pivot back to the TikTok portion in a second, but one of the ladies on the crime shows, she was saying that like, oh yeah, the guy, he was on a date with my friend, he was actually really attracted and after her, but he pivoted to me for some reason because she had more of like the nurturing energy. She had lower boundaries. Her friend had too much backbone for him to manipulate because he had issues. And this story was just so terrible. I don't even know if I could even say like the things that happened, but like she required a lot of surgeries because like the attack that happened was just, it was unheard of. Some of the things that lady endured, like it was just like, yeah, no. But the TikTok stories, they typically look for people that have like, low boundaries, low self-esteem to, and like that's like what I noticed. So like too, like it's easy for like people with narcissistic personality traits to get manipulated too by people that are operating from like the same, like similar energy. It's like, they like to use people for things. So like, again, like if you're like using someone for validation and then like they're using you for your apartment and the vibes, like literally what the freshman was doing, like, was I mad at him? No, but like my whole thing is, it's just like, I'm paying to live here. I'm gonna use this TV sometimes. Like you can't be popping up at like 9 p.m. and you can't be spending the night every single night. And this girl can't clean. How do you spend this much time with somebody and you notice that like, if I'm not cleaning the kitchen or something like that, like I don't clean their stuff, I'm not touching her pots or pans, like you mean tell me that you can play house and pretend to be Martha Stewart in the kitchen, but you can't clean? That's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, like that situation, like, was she really getting used though? There was reciprocity there too. Like you wanted back rubs, hugs and kisses and cuddles and, the image thing. Also too, I feel like this is kind of weird though too, because I noticed that she's like overly like image focused. Like she's all about looks. The girl does not clean, but she would sit there and do her makeup for like hours, blow dry her hair, change her outfit 3 times. But then when you originally see her, she had no makeup, sweatpants on, she's just like chill, messy bun. But then when the guy would come over, she's out here wearing 3 different outfits and like, yeah. And I'm just like, how do you not know that like, you know what they say, some people just don't care about cleanliness. And I was just like, he's either younger, he's using her, or he's just as immature. And then it was kind of like a mix of all 3. Because like, when I realized he was 18, it's just like, oh, okay, I guess. But there was still something about him that just seemed a little bit more mature than she was. Like, he's 18 now, but like in 2 years, like I'm pretty sure he's going to be a little bit more mature and more like strategic in like who he associates himself with, because he was just not like a good choice if she's like that. The way how image focused she is about like how people perceive her and pick her up, you should never go and get someone that's matching your same immature levels. Like it's extra noticeable when you're literally attaching yourself with someone that's just giving off the same, young and entitled vibe. It's just not a good look. Like, yeah, you both look like, aesthetic. Like, I wouldn't like say like, oh my gosh, like this is like, I don't know, I can't think of like, it's not giving Barbie and Ken. It's not. But yeah, it's just, some people, they just like, the facade of a relationship, like looking like that they have it together and like that they are like ironclad with their man and whatnot. Yeah, but they never really stay single. So she said that, yeah, so she like cut things off with him and stuff during break, and I was like, look at God, because I don't have to clean up after them anymore. Like There was one time where there were like pizza stains on the flipping coffee table for a whole week. How do you sit there and eat pizza? Like, I let them have like the area. She was like, hi, we just ordered pizza. And I was like wondering like if you were gonna be out here for a really long time. And I was just like, oh no, like, I'll share the space. Like, like we pay, we both pay to live here. Like, of course, like, yeah. But it's just like, once I started realizing that she's like really messy and like, it's like messy to the point that you either need assisted living, or you need you're doing this on purpose. It's like one of the two. It's literally at that point where it's like, so you can get packages like every other day, but you can't take it out. She literally had a pan full of brownies on the counter for a whole month, and like, yeah. I only cleaned the stuff up, like, and then she just like left some of her dishes too. Like, it's spring break now, so I'm just like, I only cleaned up because like it's like I'm gonna be staying here, and like, again, if I showed you how the couch looked before, it was literally like thrown together. Like, I'll insert some pictures. Like, it's just like, you guys will literally talk about me like if I like went on camera with it. It was like, what's wrong with your place? Like, literally. Like, I'm not saying like things have to be like super clean all the time, but like the stuff is ridiculous. She's never mopped the floor, never used a vacuum. Like, her mom even asked, she's like, do I need to buy her a separate vacuum, or are you guys gonna share this vacuum? It's like, we can share the vacuum. I even have cleaning supplies under the sink so everybody can share it. She does not wipe. I told her to wipe the table one time. She literally got like one of the Clorox wipes or whatever, like one of the sanitizing wipes, and just wiped the table. Streaks all over the whole thing. It's just like the bare minimum of the bare minimum. I was like, if cleaning is this hard for you, why are you not in the dorm still? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I'm like literally trying to like figure out, like, does her mom know? Like, why get the decorations? Like, I got the pillows, but like the other stuff, and like, you guys can go back and see my apartment tour. I think I did a cleaning video too. I'm not messy, Like, I mean, like, and this is also like too, like, you need to have documentation with these kinds of people, because like the personality traits, the lack of accountability is just so rampant, to the point that, again, you just meet these people so many times that it's just like, you just already know, okay, you work with a person like this, make sure that their superiors, trusted superiors, like, CC'd in on everything, just so you know, like, oh, Billy Bob Joe didn't get the deliverables in on time, yeah, you just gotta let it know, because like somebody might put the blame on you. Next thing you know, you're on a pit plan or something, or literally losing your job. There was this one lady, she literally had like full-on narcissistic personality disorder, and she was talking about how she has actually gotten people fired before, how she has also qualified for jobs that she didn't even know a lick of the requirements for. And I also saw this lady on LinkedIn, and when I tell you she is a gifted writer, like, her bio is just like, yeah, she got a gift. Like, I mean, like, I use this resume service my mom recommended, and I spent like $150 for this, and I was just like, you know what? Like, low key, I want her to look at my resume and like, she must know something I don't, because clearly, like, literally narcissistic people, that they either have the disorder or like a lot of the traits, and they're always the first ones hired. I kid you not. This girl, and like a lot of people that I've met, they would probably, like, if she went to go apply for a job in like a field that she had no experience in, they would probably hire her and put her in she would probably get promoted pretty fast, because typically that's the pipeline and that's how it works. People like this, people with these personality traits, they get promoted fast. And it's just like a really interesting process. It's just like, once you start noticing and like clocking the patterns, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, this is just like, it's not right, but it's so entertaining, because it's just like there were highly capable people that deserve to be in these positions. Like, you know, we used to have innovation and, you know, people used to look forward to, like, you know, new products coming out. Like, now nobody's like excited for any of this stuff. People used to get super like geeked about the new like iPhone or whatever. And now it's just like, okay, you know, if it's time for an upgrade, you just go to get it. It's not like, oh, let me show you my new phone. Unless you're making an ASMR, but it's not so like, you know, people used to specifically tune into the technology. Even the tech channels, the enthusiasm has been lost unless they're reviewing like products from like other countries. Like, I can't think of the brand name, but it's like a knockoff of the iPhone 17, but like the back of it, it's like also a screen too. Like the technology is like very advanced. And then I was just thinking, like, you're paying almost $1,700 for a new phone, and you mean to tell me that they're out here literally like making innovative technology in other countries, and the stuff is literally like, oh my gosh. Even like the fashion here, like my international friends, like I'll ask them, like, oh my gosh, where'd you get your jeans? Where'd you get your jacket? And they're like, oh my gosh, I got it from my home country. And I'm like, I needed to start shopping and traveling around the world, because like literally it's just like, this is giving like 90s quality. And like here in America, like, you're a girl. Oh my gosh, you buy leggings from like some of these brands are like literally like super expensive, and next thing you know, you have holes in your stuff, like out of nowhere. It's just like, how do you get something and now you have holes in it? Your socks, like the material is just so thin. Like, I shop in the men's section for some things. Like, if I can get away with like the color, like, you know, if it's like unisex or something like that, especially if it's black, like, you know, you can, you know, yeah. Number 7, lack of cleanliness. They throw stuff together. Yeah. You guys know like those compilations of like the girls that just like have like they just like never clean their room, like they're under a pile of clothes. And I remember this one guy, he was like reviewing I was doing like a voiceover in one of the videos, and he was like, you bring people over with your room looking like that and you still get laid? And I was just like, you know, I always heard people don't care. People literally don't care. Like, guys will literally like sit there and talk about people. That's a whole other story. But like, you know, after the fact, oh my gosh, these people. Okay, I literally like put a lot of work into the apartment to like literally like make it spray and wipe. This girl does not like to, she does not like to do spray and wipe. She wants me to do like everything and be like Annie Homemaker. I kid you not, last year, I moved out of my 4B because of cleaning issues. They were trying to pin everything on me and say like I was like, the girls were all messy. Like, again, long story short, a lot of the undergrad girls, very lazy people. There were a few people like this during undergrad a few years back. I think Gen Z 2004, whatever. I don't know how old some of these people are. You know, COVID also like postponed some people's graduations too, because like there were some people that are like, yeah, they're supposed to graduate like 2-3 years ago or whatever, and like, you know, recently like just graduated like December 2024. But anyway, but yeah, there's just some interesting stuff that goes on. But like a lot of people, like, okay, here's the thing, a lot of people can put on their makeup, but they don't know how to clean or care to clean. And like, I thought that it was weird too, because I had like neighbors like come into like my apartment, and like even like with my last roommate, and they were just like, oh my gosh, your place is just like so clean. And I'm just like, what are you guys talking about? And I'm just like, I thought this was the bare minimum. No. I started realizing it was like, okay, like maybe I do clean like a lot. Like some people think that I'm like OCD. I'm like, I'm not OCD. I'm just like, you know, look, here's my thing. I call it princess treatment. Like, I deserve to live in a palace. It should have like a certain level of cleanliness. Like, I feel like too, you know what's so interesting is that like a lot of people grew up with like the whole saying, cleanliness is closer to godliness, or something like that. Yeah, it goes something like that. But anyway, basically, okay, so, yeah, the lack of cleanliness. Oh, yeah, tell me why my friend from high school, he's gonna sit here and say, oh, yeah, the previous roommate, she would have crumbs on the floor, too, like, piles of crumbs. But honestly, I've just been, like, reflecting on things. I'm just like, honestly, I really kind of, like, miss living with her though. Like she was also like very moody too. Sometimes like she would have mood swings, but like I'd rather somebody just like walk into the door and not feel like speaking or saying hello to anyone. Like, you know, she just seemed like people like really depleted her, which sometimes I wonder like, why are you in a sorority if like she just seemed like even like when she would like get on the phone with her friends like, oh my gosh guys, I'm gonna like meet you or so, like she would come in and take a nap and it was just like she was like so like depleted of energy, and I was like, interesting. But yeah, like sometimes she would like kind of like be like moody and like didn't want to speak or anything. And you know, and like basically like because like my current roommate kind of has like a similar like dynamic, it's just like I just figure it's just like, you know, just give her space. It's like, you know, we don't really have anything to talk about anyway, plus like she just seems like, it's not even she is like, you know, pretty messy. And given what happened in my 4B, again, you know, you just start meeting people with these same personality traits. I do not really like associate with like, you know, some of the, you even have to be careful with how often you say hi. I was accused by my 19-year-old roommate of trying to be her friend. She was trying to invite me to the frat parties. I said I wanted to go because I didn't go during undergrad because we had like COVID and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, I transferred in during COVID. And yeah, I really didn't have any friends to go. And then was like, oh my gosh, I just want to go for the experience. And then like, you know, like now I'm just like, I don't think I really want to go. If anything, I want to go party with the millennials. You know what? If time travel, you know what? If time traveling comes out, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go party with the millennials because like, I mean, like now I was thinking about getting a fake ID to like go to one of the 30 plus clubs, but then I'm just like, are the millennials even partying anymore? Because I feel like the music and the industry just has like decreased, and like, you know, yeah, those 360 deals is affecting everything. Like the way that people move, people are literally like, how many throwback remixes can you make? That's a problem. We need to start releasing the unreleased music from the 90s, the early 2000s. That's what we need to start doing. I'm just saying. Because, you know, we are not short of talent. We need these evil people to stop with the 360 deals. Because how are people out here rapping better in parking lots, but as soon as they get signed, they're shelved, or they're literally just like making cookie cutter music that the label delivers in. Like they literally have, you know, signed away their creative rights. Like they can't control their voice or anything. It spends loads of time on appearance. We already talked about that. Man or woman, oh my gosh, my guy friend from high school, he would literally like, so he had like curly hair. He would literally like spend a lot of time doing his curly hair routine. Mind you, he wasn't really like, I wouldn't say he was like a femboy, really, like more so he was still like kind of like, he was still kind of like finding his style. He didn't start like doing like the femboy stuff until like maybe like 2021 or whatever. I don't know. But like basically his mom was just like not super supportive of the whole thing. Like she just thinks it was like, he doesn't know who he is. He's confused. Like, it's like, is he really? Like, you know, I don't know. But yeah, also too, one thing I've noticed is that, okay, so there's this girl, I think her name is, I don't know her name, but anyway, she would go on, TikTok talking about, like, her narcissistic personality disorder, and she said that she has never met anyone with, I think she said she has, like, cluster B. She just, like, gives herself, like, the buzz term narcissistic personality disorder, but she does have the traits. All the disorders are very complex. There's like different variations of it and stuff like that. But she was just talking about like her sexuality and how she's bisexual, and she was saying she has never met anyone with NPD that isn't bisexual. And honestly, I feel like that friend, like low-key, like from high school, like he was like probably like more like, he was gay, but like probably like more on the bi side, only because like, you know, they were like, I don't know. First thing, I feel like They love to be worshipped so much. It's just like, why would you like section yourself off to like one gender and you can get attention from both? I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if they have a certain amount of traits, they would literally like take the bait. They really would. But like, even if they're like leaning more towards like one specific like gender, but it's just like, it's like that deep when it comes to like being worshipped and like, you know, like appearance and like, you know, people like feeding into their facade, like drawing in that energy. That like, they definitely like, yeah. But again, these people have not been diagnosed, not that I know of, with NPD, the personality disorder, but I'm just saying, based on the traits, I wouldn't be surprised by most of the people that I've met, only because like there's not like really like specifically like the one friend, there was a he was experimenting with some of his other friends because one of the girls, she said, oh, congratulations, you're not gonna be a daddy. And I was like, what did she just say? Did she just say what I think she just said? And they don't like their business getting out like that. And I was just like, oh snap. I pretend like I didn't hear anything, but I heard that and I was like, okay. Yeah, but I just want to say, like, I don't really think that it's like full on like, oh my gosh, like they're just like genuinely emotionally connected to like people. Again, like it's really hard for them to connect with people. It's more so like who's feeding their facade kind of thing. It's more of like a strategic, logical kind of thing that is just like, okay, let me just open myself up to more opportunities so I can get more, you know, options. But yeah, I mean, like, hookup culture, hello today, like people are literally like, a lot of people with like these traits, they are out here having a field day, but you need to be careful because again, she's like, a lot of people are not in their right mind, genuinely. I'm just saying. So number 9 has a false sense of being able to control or manipulate people. People with depth and true power intimidate them. That is literally so true. There is a certain type. So typically they have on and off again relationships. Again, like they can't really actually like have long-term friends. So like, if they do have long-term friends, it's more so people that like to hang on to history and less of like people that are like, oh my gosh, like I love you so much and miss you so much. It's more so like, oh, we used to do this together. We used to play in the sandbox together. It's like, again, the history bonders. The amount of times when my mom has told me, like, oh my gosh, this person has been your friend for such a long time. You can't cut them off. And I was like, history does not mean a thing. Like, that's the problem with people. If people are making you, like people love to say the thing, like, life is too short to, like, hold grudges. Nobody's holding a grudge. Why are you, you know, stressing out, getting wrinkles and stuff for people that literally don't respect you? You try to open up to them and say, hey, look, this is what you did. You crossed my boundaries. I really didn't I didn't really appreciate this. Like, it was just highly disrespectful. They like to downplay things and, disrespect your boundaries. Why keep you around? It seems like you're benefiting from the connection that reciprocity has to exist in everything you do. Business, friendship, marriage, even like familial relations. Reciprocity. Literally the main theme to the whole like universe is literally balance. If something's not in balance, it's out of alignment. If something's out of balance within your body, there's going to be signs that display that something is unaligned, something's not in order. Literally, if you build a house that is not balanced, it's going to go, it's going down. I'm not sure where I put this, but I know I put this somewhere. Typically, their friends, they're at least going to have one friend that's not super, super intelligent. Their awareness is like super low, not very intellectually involved, and typically this is a person that's going to be like the one that's most forgiving, easy to manipulate and stuff like that. Just like their tag along buddy or whatever. But again, because like they can't actually hold on to relationships. And like my one friend from high school, his friend that had more of a backbone, like when he started being like very controlling, saying like, oh my gosh, ever since you got your boyfriend, you never hang out with us between classes or anything, you didn't even sit with us with at lunch like that. And you know, she was just like, you are being so controlling, like you act like you're trying to be my boyfriend. Like he really was. He was just like doing too much. And like even like that was like another thing though too, why like I'll also think that he was like kind of like bisexual, because like I can never talk about like, you know, like other guys. Like, okay, if I have like a crush or something like that, I'd like, how you have a gay friend and you can't talk about guys? Like, who does that? Like, mind you, I also had I had like a few like gay friends and associates in high school. Like, yeah, I never felt comfortable changing in front of this friend too, which was very odd. Like I've never like, you usually don't have those vibes in front of a gay friend. Like my sister, like she even had like a gay friend in high school, and she like, she would literally be in her bra like around him. Like he's literally not even looking at her like that. Like, sign somebody is very gay, you know? But yeah, couldn't do that with this friend. Like I just did not feel comfortable. It's just like, I don't know, like yeah. And then like after like hearing the whole stuff like, you're not gonna be a daddy, and I was like, my intuition was right. It was correct. They think that they can control things. They think that they can genuinely control people. And like my current roommate, I don't know why her friends have not told her the truth, but this is the price that it costs. Like when you like don't have any one that can like keep it real with you, or like they just feel like they can't keep it real. You can just tell you can't really have a conversation with her. But like yeah, there was like a whole thing like where she also like they can't take criticism. None of them can. Which is very interesting, because she got her sheet stuck in the dryer and she was like, oh my gosh, like it's like really, really stuck. Like, can you try to help me get it out? And it was like, I tried to help her get it out. And it was like, we're gonna need to call maintenance. Like, you're gonna need to call maintenance. Like, I asked her, like, what did you like put it on? Like, do you put this on normal? And then she was like, no, I put it on heavy duty because it was filled all the way to the top. And I was like, but mind you, her material was super thin. So like, I figured it was probably her first time washing, you know, or something like that. But then again, she lived here last year in the property, so it can't be her first time washing. But anyway, maybe she had a service coming in to like do her. You never know what people are doing. I stated the recommendation like very friendly and like plain. It just like you can just tell a person has a problem, because like my recommendation was just like, oh no, like next time just like use this on normal. Like that's very like thin material. I didn't even have to touch her clothes or her load or anything just to know that this is just like touch her load. That sounds crazy. Oh my gosh. Like okay, no, but I didn't have to like touch her like clothes or anything to like know that like this is just like once the water hits, it's going to go down. It's just like, didn't you recently take chemistry or something? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think she's the only child, or she's the youngest, because she's definitely she's different. She's different because like interesting. I was just like telling her like, yeah, next time just use normal. You can just tell like her face was like up here like twitching, and she was just like having a really big issue with like my recommendation, and I was just like, it's not even like that. I'm just like and I just like, it's just like, this is just, again, you meet so many people and it's just like, clearly I know how I come off to people, and I know how I can communicate. I literally worked at the front desk. Like if I had like an issue or attitude problem, they would say, you need to leave. Yeah, they have a false sense of being able to control or manipulate people. They're typically like so convinced that they can like control people. I kid you not. My friend from high school, so when I graduated, because he was like in like a grade or two below me. Okay, so he like met one of my like childhood friends. And yeah, so like we were like hanging out for the summer and stuff like that, because like she like, you know, lived in Illinois, and he pulled her into a group chat and was like, went on a tangent talking. I was like, you've been talking about me to my mom and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, sir, when have I talked about you to your mom? Like, you really think that I'm that bored that I'm like like This is sad. This is sad that you don't see me as having a personality. Like, it's just like blaming people for stuff that they do. It's just like one of those guilty conscious things. You know, people say like, oh, if, like when someone is like obsessed, that they think, when they're obsessed with thinking that their partner cheated on them, and they're the ones that are out there cheating, but they're trying to, you know, their guilty conscience is coming up even on an unconscious level, to the point that they're out here blaming their partner. Was like, you're cheating on me, I know you're seeing somebody else. It's like one of those things. It's like, why are you sitting out here saying that you think that I'm gossiping to your mom? I interviewed her for an assignment for school. Mind you, I was a communication major. Interpersonal communication, intercultural communication. Be for real. Be for real. Com 101. Communication, society, and technology. Like, I'm taking all types of courses. Women and gender studies. Like, do you know how many, like, people-related courses I've taken? Like, Mind you. One of the assignment was literally interview someone that speaks another language and from another cultural background. Your mom is Greek Canadian, and she speaks Greek and English. Why would I not interview her? Make it make sense. Mind you, this was during COVID too. If you and your mom are like the only people that I can like interview that like knows me and feel comfortable, like, you know, because like nobody was really like trying to like hang out with a lot of people like that. You know what's going on in my house. I know what's going on in your house, kind of thing. It's just like, why would I not interview her? And honestly, it's just like, again, his mom was like auntie vibes. Like, it's like very familial thing. Again, he's just like very jealous because like I love speaking and hanging out with her. And, you know, that lack of connection with people, like he wants people to worship him. He wants people to be his friend. And he would always like talk about that too. And even like go places trying to embarrass his mom and say like, she stole my friend. When have I ever said I wasn't your friend? But it's just like, again, it's just an ego thing. Cause it's like, you don't genuinely care about like me being your friend. You just don't like the fact that I'm hanging out with your mom. I just told you guys I couldn't even like talk about guys like in front of him. So if I can't talk about that with you, make it make sense. What are we talking about? Be for real. And like, you know, it's like, okay, look, I'm not like boy obsessed or anything, like, you know. It's like yeah, but like I was just saying, like, look, if you literally can't sit here and like have a conversation or just talk about real stuff with people, why would I literally want to be bothered with hanging out with you? Like, tell me your value of friendship. Be for real. And it's, again, it just goes back to that inflated self of importance. Yeah, but he literally pulled my friend into a group chat and tried to say like, oh yeah, you were telling my mom that I like he was just talking about like crazy stuff. Like, you know, he told me like he literally made this up, because when I just like told him, I was like, literally, it was like, I interviewed your mom for a project. I never gossiped about you or anything. Why would I need to talk about you? And I talk about my own private stuff. Make it make sense. So where are you getting this information? And then on top of that, he was just like saying that like I told his mom that he likes white boys or something like that. And I'm just like, bro, aren't you white too? Make it make sense. Like, I mean, exactly. Why would something like that even come out of my mouth? Make it make sense. Like, it just like, I'm doing mental gymnastics trying to think about how this theory and this stuff just came up. And then when I put him on the spot about this, and also he dragged my friend into this 3-way group chat, and I'm just like, you know, again, he retracted back and then tried to flip the blame on his mom and say, oh, my mom's starting BS again. So you mean to tell me that your mom has done, one, you're either telling the truth and she has done some stuff like this before, and you still have the nerve to sit here, analyze this crazy theory, and then put it into the group chat and just embarrass yourself like that, when you're, again, so like, he's always trying to paint himself as the victim. Literally, common trait with people with narcissistic personality traits. crazy. Okay, even if she did do that, it's just like, don't you have common sense to just, realize, okay, if that's true, then like that means like something's not well with your mom, because I definitely never said that. Either way, something's not right in somebody's mind. It's really not. Yeah, but again, that narrative twisting, I wrote that somewhere. Some of these I think I'm going to skip because they're like super similar. But like, yeah, it's just like stuff like that. And it's just like, even my current roommate, the guy that was our third roommate last semester, she's gonna sit here and like blame the whole like cleanliness thing on him. Like, yeah, he never took out the trash or anything. And then she's just like literally just flipping the blame. It's like, he came at 9. You were cooking and cleaning for him. You could have told her. She would have friends over too. And like, I kid you not, if I didn't wipe the placemats down that her mom bought for the apartment, the stuff looks cute. But it's just like, if your daughter can't clean, why bring the stuff? It's just a burden. It's just a burden, because it's just like, it looks nice, but it's just like the cleanliness. I don't know. She just seems like overwhelmed. She barely wants to clean her dishes. Like, her dishes stay in the sink. Like, it just looked like she literally left spring break with stuff like piled up. I kid you not. Like no. It just doesn't make any sense. No sense. Oh, and then like she blamed like there were some issues with like her previous roommate. We never had like a roommate conversation about like previous roommates. We were supposed to, but then I just realized, she was reminding me too much of some people from the past. I'm like, you know what? I'm not about to relocate or move again. Like, there was like the first time ever where I didn't have to like move or relocate to a different apartment, or whether it's because I was like transferring or, roommate issues or just issues with the apartment, the room itself, or like something like that. It was like the first time where I'm just like actually just like staying in the apartment and like not having to like worry about moving out or moving in somewhere, and I can just settle in and like focus on whatever school. So I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna like worry about like talking to people, because I don't know what's wrong, but like a lot of people just don't know how to communication is like a really big issue. People want to be understood, but they don't understand people. And I'm just like, I'm not trying to be counselor 2.0 and like, and I know like she would always like try to like probe me for like conversations, and like she still does this sometimes. And sometimes I think she even invites people over just to try to get me to socially interact, but I just like don't socially interact. It's not that like I dislike her or anything. Like, I just know her personality type just so well, to the point it's just like, I don't want to repeat these dynamics anymore. It's just like personal space. You need time to reflect. Hopefully you just have the personality traits and you can properly heal, because you can't medicate personality disorders. Then again, it's just like you're 20 and it's like it's giving like that pivotal point. They won't diagnose people with like personality disorders in their teen years, but like like I believe like age 20 to like 23, that's when like they're like, okay, like if you still have like some of these like traits going on after a certain point in your 20s, it's like we can diagnose some of the things like by a professional. Yeah. But number 11 is basically they love being around people they perceive to have power and influence. People that were like very like into the like social like like image awareness and stuff like that. I noticed too, like they would like find me like very attractive and like want me to be their friend, because they want to be in like social proximity with other people that they believe to be attractive. And my last roommate, so when I was like transferring from my 4-bedroom to this 2-bedroom, she actually I heard that she like sent another person back that was also looking to transfer rooms from a roommate situation as well. And she like sent that girl a long text and said, I don't think it's gonna work. But like mostly because that girl was vegan and she wasn't vegan. And so my last roommate was gluten-free. But yeah, but she saw me, and then she was just like, oh, she was like, you want to see the room? And I was like, okay, because like I don't know, sometimes she, like her personality, like you just like, yeah, but like the front office, they were just like, she's been in the apartment for like over a month now by herself, so she probably like wants to live alone. But like given how many people at the office like ascending her. Like, she knew like she was gonna end up with a roommate. So I don't know, I think I fit her aesthetic and like her social proximity. She even told like one of her like sorority sisters about me, and like that girl would like say hi to me all the time. She was like, oh my gosh, I used to be your current roommate's roommate last year. We were like literally like best friends. Yeah, that girl was like really nice though too. But also too, I noticed that like a lot of like the like the sorority girls, like they're also like, I don't know, they just like gravitate towards me. I like literally like last semester when I went to the career fair, you can just tell like there was like a few of the sorority girls, like they were all like smiling at me and stuff like that, and I'm just like, do I know you guys? You can just tell because like they all did their makeup the exact same. Like there was like a little video where like the one girl, she was just like, we're all wearing baby blue. We want people to see us. Oh, not me wearing the blue. Okay. That was not planned. But yeah. But like basically it's like that, like, there's like a signature look. It's like unity, like it's a branding. It's a branding of their sisterhood. But 12, having control, power, or importance is their main sense of pride. That is true. I find that there's ways that like they try to assert control, like they kind of like feel weird and like operate like from like a depleted sense of like energy and like self-worth, like when they're not in a sense of having control or power or importance. Number 13, their longest friendships tend to be surface level. They have lots of makeup and breakup cycles. That's what I mentioned before. 14, any friend with a genuine sense of self, depth, or personal power is not a part of the breakup or makeup cycle. So my friend from high school, his one friend that had the boyfriend that had backbone, yeah, that girl, yeah, he literally was just like calling her all types of names. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, when you can just tell like they weren't going to be friends anymore because she just had too much backbone. And like, that other person, like they were on again, off again friends. Even like him and I, like we were on again and off again friends because like I was away at college and then like he was like, a senior or whatever. Maybe he was a junior at the time. I don't know. Because there's like we were like a few grades apart. We met in ceramics because we met in the elective class. So that's how we met. There were some cool people in ceramics. I literally like, so one of the guys, he was a freshman that sat at our table. I invited him to my graduation party. But like, he's like, he seemed more mature than him, like my friend. And honestly, I went to hang out with him, and he would also too, they are very like controlling too. I find that they tend to be like very controlling. Like, I don't know, it's just like really weird. Like they just want me to be their friend, I don't know. I don't even know how to say that because like, they tend to have like a lot of friends though too, but like they want me to like, I don't know, like be reserved for them in a way, because I noticed that like like the friend that I just said that sat at our table that was a freshman, I invited him to the party. I hugged him goodbye, and like, I hugged both of the guests, like, thank you for coming, thank you for like, just being a good host, like you came to my graduation, thank you so much. Yeah. And I hugged him, and then like he was just like acting like very like, again, there's a sense of self like control, like it's just like, why are you acting like this, like it's giving weird, like don't be out here doing that, like something going on, like it's not that kind of party. There's just a sense of control. I just don't even know how to explain it, but there's just like, it's just one of those patterns. Like, again, these are all patterns I've just noticed like from like my experiences with people with these traits. I have friends for different things, but they're different. Their friends are, they can't spend too much time with one group because people will figure them out fast. And a lot of people, they are easily lied to. Like, how can we sit here and talk about narcissists and the personality traits all day? I'm pretty sure people probably like know a lot of these. And, again, they're still the first ones hired. But then like the hiring process will get extended with some of these companies because they had bad hires that burned them. You made a bad decision, now we need to extend the hiring process because you can't tell when you're being lied to, but people lie all the time. And also the process for hiring does not measure depth, and these people can't fake depth. So you would actually be able to, they can pass a test, they can pass the personality test, because again, most of these places, they don't actually want a free thinker. A free thinker is someone that's typically creative and innovative, and they're very like agile. Well, I'm gonna say like Someone with like NPD isn't agile. They can be. It depends too. And there's different levels of that. They also feel like the world is weird or against them when things aren't going their way. It's just very like, you know, kind of like a self-pity thing. That's number 16. And then 17, can't stand to see friends with others in happy, healthy relationships. Yeah, that one friend, he was like very like jealous. Like, oh, I mentioned someone and then he's like, oh yeah, he followed me on Instagram. He's been texting me. And I literally said that too. It's just like, he has a girlfriend and it's not that kind of party. Like, I just thought the guy was interesting. He seems cool. Like, it's like that deja vu with the person. Like, I feel like I know you, but I don't know you. Like, I never met you. Never seen that guy around the school before. Mind you, I went to the same school for like all 4 years. Like, I think I would know. I thought we were gonna like go to the same university because he would always have like the university sweatshirt on it, but like, you know, we didn't go to the same university. Number 18, date based on who looks good and who worships them, propping up self-image and displaying their worthiness of worship. That's typically how they choose people. Again, they're very hyper-focused on like the self-image, but as I told you guys in the previous example of my roommate picking someone that is that matches her aesthetics or whatever, you know, not matches her aesthetics, but like they kind of, you can just tell like the only reason why that they last so long is because they share the same toxic, you know, immature traits or whatever. Number 19, no accountability unless it improves their image or is strictly for damage control. So they're not going to apologize for something that they did, even if they're the ones that caused you harm, disrespected you. Literally, the friend from high school ran into my car. Technically my mom's car, but like my sister and I, you know, is the one that we shared. But yeah, he was driving his mom's 2-door BMW and like backed out. So he was supposed to go to a party, but he just got done arguing with his mom and she was like, you're stressing me out. And then this guy literally hops in the car. I was literally getting ready to go and leave and he was like, oh no, it's okay, I'm going to go get a gift for such and such. He wasn't in like a good state of mind. Most people are just like, okay, if you just yell at your mom, you're going to sit there and take a beat. Mind you, I was in the car multiple times when his mom was teaching him how to drive when we would like go up the street to CVS or whatever. He backed out of the driveway perfectly fine. My car has always sat there. When I say that, like, again, start paying attention to the whole family. You better start meeting the entire family. If you date somebody, meet the whole family if you can. If possible, get to know friends, watch how they treat other people, how they operate. They all have it's not just him. The roommates. Current roommate. Never take accountability for anything. Lack of accountability. Everything is somebody else's fault, even if it's their fault. Because it's just like, this guy blocked me one time. he said, oh my gosh, Tiffany blocked you. So Tiffany pays your phone bill? Like, oh my gosh. I'm putting a fake name in. I sit there and say that like his other friend blocked me or whatever. And I'm like, whatever. He literally went inside the house, blamed his mom, just like, see, look what you did. You made me run into her car. Mind you, this is the second time my car gets hit in their driveway. Another family friend hit the car. He paid right away. These people have still never paid for the car. And his mom was acting like very weird. She was like, oh my gosh, his dad's going to reach out to you guys about paying for the car. Because like when I went to like 3 different places and like they were like quoting like $1,700, but it was mostly like labor fees. And, you know, plus it was it was like during COVID. So like things were just like suddenly like more expensive because the other guy, like when he dented the car, it was just $700, but maybe he knew somebody, but they were charging for like labor. And I went to 3 different places and they were just like, it's still drivable. Why is it that much? And then like, you know, his mom would like lie and say one thing to my mom and like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about the whole situation. I don't know why they put the tires on there. And then I was just like, my mom, she was just like, oh, like, no, like that, they didn't put the tires on there. I mentioned like one time, like randomly, sporadically, like, oh, we needed to get new tires or something, but it was like months ago. why in the world would we put the tires on the bill for you to pay? And he didn't even hit the tire. The thing he hit was the bumper. They have to take the whole bumper off, and then the internal damage in there that, like, you know, so basically the part of the wheel that like stops the rocks from, like, you know, spinning and like hitting the tires, that can cause the tires to get punctured depending on like how fast, like, you know, you're going, and like the rocks and stuff like that, the pebbles or whatnot, like, you know, that could, you know, put more wear and tear on the tires. Again, it's just like the lack of accountability. One time this guy he bought a crop top. His mom, mind you, I told you, his mom did not really support his sexuality like that, you know? And so she really just didn't, like, she was like, okay, it's one thing to be gay, but like, you know, you don't need to dress like a girl kind of thing, like, you know? And so, like, you know, because she was just like, I had gay friends too, but like they weren't wearing, like, you know, sparkles and crop tops, like they dressed like men because they were men. And like, you know, she's very old school, like very, like, you know, like if you're going to be that way, you like kind of like you keep that in kind of thing. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like just imagine if somebody, like, you're straight and somebody told you to keep that in, like, okay, oh my gosh. I feel like, you know, it's just like a simple thing. It's just like, you know, just like whatever your sexuality is, like, you know, you're straight, like, you know, just imagine having to suppress your straightness. You see an attractive guy and you're like, oh my gosh, he's so beautiful, he's such a kind person, and then you have to, like, you have to suck that in. You can't tell anybody that. That's no way to live. Yeah. You know, I feel like it's just a 2-second step, you know, because, and also like too, that's why I ended up like taking like so many, like, I didn't mean to get a minor in women and gender studies, but like it was like one of the requirements for like freshman year. So, gender, sexuality, and popular culture. And I thought that would be a cool class to take because I always just like notice, again, like I always like clocked like people, like, you know, people relations. And like there were like some people in my family too, and like some of like my, sorry, there's like little things floating. There were like some people in my family too that were from like the LGBTQ community, and I would just like notice how like they would just like make little jokes, like, you know how people like make jokes as a couple or whatever, and like, you know, people, they would be like or like, you know, they just simply wouldn't laugh. But it's just like, okay, but if somebody said that about their no good man, you got to say Number 20, they tend to attract people with their same tendencies. So check the friend group, watch closely. I kind of mentioned that. That's number 20. And then 21, dating patterns tend to invoke surface level people who are often there to use them in some type of way too. I mentioned the guy, our third roommate from last semester. Yeah, he used her too. Well, 22 was like, okay, I was kind of like curious about this one because like, okay, there were some celebrities that they claim that are narcissists, and they always talk, and these are celebrities that always kind of like talk about like sex often, like often, like that's literally a part of their brand. But like, so I thought that was like interesting because it was like, you know what, I did go on Reddit and do like a brief little, like, you know, skim through research to see like, okay, anybody who has ever had like sexual relations with somebody with narcissistic, like the actual disorder, narcissist NPD, or the, you know, someone just with the personality traits. And because, okay, here's the thing, if you can't connect with people on an emotional level, then like how can you actually, like, you know, they're very selfish on a day-to-day basis, so why would they put in effort into the bedroom unless they're trying to manipulate or control you? But even still then, nobody was really saying like it was a memorable experience. It was just like, it's more so like, just like, you know, nothing pleasant. Nothing like, you know, you can just tell like they would say like, oh yeah, the person was just holding back, or like they just specifically used this event as a way to like control and manipulate kind of thing. And like, you know, that was just like very interesting to see. And also Yeah, I feel like I can't go too deep into that because, like, oh my gosh, like, unpack the tea. Well, not really the tea. I've been thinking about too. Okay, so one of the girls that I like, used to watch in high school, like for her like story times, she started OnlyFans and she does her story times on there because Nikki Glamour's like stepsister story times were just like so out of control sometimes. Where I'm just like, she had to be like very careful about like the detail, and then she was like, I can't really tell you guys too much about this. 22 was sex, and then 23 was trauma bonding. And yeah, also too, I think here's the thing, hookup culture has killed like so much stuff because I made a comment about this. Like I was just saying, like a lot of people that like participate in hookup culture, they tend to be like depleted and like drained of energy and just as like depressed and sad as whatever they were trying to escape in the first place, because they understand that there is like, it's an energetic exchange that occurs like when people have intercourse. So if this person is insecure and they have like insecurities and like depression and stuff like that, they can blend and mix energies. Like basically, long story short, people can like end up like exchanging and like absorbing some of that energy from like one another and exchanging that. And so that's basically what I'm trying to say. People like typically will like say like, oh my gosh, the best way to get over a man or woman is to get up under someone new. And it's just like, that's not really true, because everybody like that, you can just kind of like tell, like they start like, they walk out the parties weird, and like not walk out the parties weird, but like you can just tell like they're kind of like they're kind of like they start feeling a little bit off. You can just tell like by the way that they move and stuff like that, like, oh my gosh. Yeah, and then like there's some people like they literally like, oh my gosh, there was this one guy in my building, like when he would get drunk and we're just like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know you were dating someone. And then he was just like, dating someone? I'm not dating anyone. It was like, you were literally making out with this guy. Oh my gosh, like he literally, I was just like, were you on something, like something else something? And then he was like, no, I literally only just drank. And I was just like, you didn't even remember me. Like, I waved at you and you didn't remember me. And then you guys were just like tonguing each other down. Like, can I say that? Like, he told me he loved me. Like, he was just like always like very out of it. Like when he was drunk, like he was out here like voguing in the hallway and everything. And I was like, he does not do that on a regular day. And then he was just like, yeah, one of his roommates set that up. He was like, yeah, you were making out with some chick in the bar. I knew you were a little bit straight when you get drunk. He was a little too close to me, and then he was like, he grabbed my hand, and then we're just like, it was like girly pop grab your hand kind of thing. And I was just like, it wasn't anything like that, but there were just like times where we were just like a little close, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like you're just slightly straight when you're drunk, just a little. Yeah, but I wasn't the girl, I was somebody else. No, but it's just like super scary because it's just like, you're that out of it, dude. Like, you didn't remember me. Like, oh my gosh. And he was like one of my tea time buddies too. Okay, number 24. Love to benefit from the work of others with little to no contribution. So yeah, current example, cleaning the apartment. I literally pulled back on cleaning because like I only clean for myself. Like, okay, is it like super clean like right now? No. And tomorrow's gonna be Thursday, and like that's why I'm trying to like hurry up and like do this. I don't know, I use like 3 batteries and I'm like almost at 1 hour and 54 minutes of this video. Don't even know if I'm gonna put all of this in there because some of it's kind of like a little thing repeat. But basically, yeah, they like to benefit from the work of other people. I literally heard the current roommate on the phone one time last semester. She was just like, yeah, I'm gonna need you guys to like send me that and like, forward it over to me. And I'm just like, why are you trying to like make it sound like you're like running a team or whatever? And you can just tell like the girls, like whoever she was talking to on the phone, like the group mates or whatever, they were like, there was like a pause of silence. Like, again, people with the narcissistic personality traits, they cannot read between the lines. They really like tend to have a struggle with like reading people and reading the truth. Like, they really think that they're actually in control of a lot of stuff that they're really not. Like, people know exactly, like they see through your facade 90% of the time. they just like literally just don't care and just like ignore you because just like whatever. That's another reason why too I clocked her so fast, because like her friends and like how like they would like operate with her, like there's like, you know, you can just sense that standoffness and like that distance there too. And like sometimes it seems like she tries to like make it seem like her and I are like closer or whatever, because it'll just help her prop up that image. But it's just like, I don't want anything to do with you. Her and some of my last like couple of roommates, like some of them, they just, when they have these traits, they just even like that one friend from high school, like they just genuinely don't have like a necessarily like genuinely positive like social perception. It's just not authentic or accurate. Like anybody that truly knows them, like people tend to like drift away from them, distance themselves from them. One of my sorority roommate from the 4-bedroom, that girl, she was like, I'm the like the chairman or whatever, or like she was like the chairman of her sorority, so she had like one of those top positions. And then when you would hear people like, you know, like mention her name or whatever, like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, like she's part of my house, and like that's where the conversation would end. Like, you know, it's like one of those, you know how like they're like initiated and stuff like that into the sorority, and it's just like, you know, like I'm pretty sure one of the rules is don't talk mess about your sister, and even if you don't like your sister. But yeah, but it's just definitely like one of those, like if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all kind of things. And you know, you can just really tell, like, and compared to some of the other people, like, you know, I even worked with people that were in like sororities and Greek life, and they have like very positive like perceptions. Like when people see them, like, you know, yeah, they have a pretty positive perception, like socially, like, you know. But not that roommate. And it's just like, I didn't even like her like sorority sisters like that, because like they were just like, I don't know. There was definitely something going on there, like something that they all had like this shared trauma. Like they walked with like this air of sadness, like something was off. Like I'm not sure. Like they say that there's like a lot of like things that people have to do to get in, and it's just like, if that's the reason, if that's like what I'm picking up on, like there's just something that's really off. And it was just like very sad. But you know, I could just tell like her and the 19-year-old, they were like going through stuff. But it's just like, when you start trying to inconvenience me and I notice that like you're not workable to work with, like, okay, you're doing too much. So 25, always in competition with someone. So you suddenly like someone, then suddenly they're into them. Not really, but they'll attempt to like try to like place doubt or inflate themselves in the situation. Literally like what my one friend did, like when I mentioned like platonic, like, you know, interest, like like that person's interesting. Suddenly it's just like they're trying to inflate themselves and like position themselves to be like, oh yeah, this guy's after me, he's into me, and he followed me on Instagram. And I'm like, the way that this guy operates, I doubt that he followed you on Instagram. He's very incognito. I can't even find this guy's name. And he would always wear like a track jacket. So he was definitely on the track team for sure. He could read people too. Their energy is similar to a black hole or a void. This is like a weird phenomenon. I'm not sure, like maybe this is more so like a spiritual kind of thing. But like there's this like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like a bit deep, but like, okay, basically like, I'm not sure, you guys probably have heard of the concept, like you like ever like, you know, heard of like some spiritual research, like there's people that are soulless, like they don't have a soul. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's like a really good like way to explain it, because it's not that like, I don't think that like my friend from high school had a soul, but I remember like, okay, I was taking an astronomy class freshman year, and so I had to like literally like lay down and look at the sky. So we had like a blanket down in his backyard, and we were like looking at the sky, and there was also like there was like something was going on. I don't think it was like an eclipse or anything, or maybe there was an eclipse, but like, yeah, we were looking at the stars, and then we were just like talking about like the future and life and stuff, like, you know, just like boring like girly pop stuff, like, you know, well, he's not a girly pop, but like, you know what I mean. It's not really boring, but like things you would talk to your friends about, because like, you know, you're like that like starting college, late high school age. Basically he was like yeah, like I don't know, there was just like, I could just like feel this energy where it was just like, there was a void. He was like a void. Like, it was just like a giant like black hole. And it's just like, you know, like sometimes like when you stand near people, like I don't know how to explain this. I see this, why I think that it's like super like spiritual. Like, I don't know, there's some type of phenomenon. They're probably gonna have like some type of like information about in like the next couple of years. No, I wouldn't really say that it's like a part of the whole like there are people without souls like theory. Some people believe in that, some people don't. But like, I don't think it's like that. But it's more so like he definitely had like a void kind of like vibe. Like, there was just something that just like I don't know. But yeah, but like the current roommate, like she kind of like I don't know. It kind of like seems like sometimes like even like the way that she moves and operates, like kind of like, okay, when I say black hole or void, I don't even want to say like current roommate, but like, yeah, so like the black hole thing, like even if it's not them themselves, it's just like even in situations they can be like a void or a black hole. Like, they just like suck the fun out of things. Like, everybody's chilling, vibing, and having fun. Suddenly they're inserting drama and just like, you know, just sucking the good vibes out of stuff. Like, that's what they do. Like, they're just like, oh, we are vibing, now we're not vibing, what's going on? Like, you know, people tend to feel pulled into things with them. Like, you know, they seem like very dramatic. There's always drama going on within their circle. So like, somebody's getting like talked about or whatever. Yeah, and then like they were always like running their mouths about something too. One time this guy accidentally told one of his other friends sexuality. I don't know, but like a lot of his friends that were a year below him or so, they were kind of like all coming out as like bisexual and whatnot, or at least like bi-curious. And I remember like one of the girls, like he was saying that like he was talking to like her so-called best friend who lived down the street from her, because like this girl lived in the neighborhood over from him. And so apparently he was running his mouth to her, and so she was just like, so I guess like that girl that lived like close to him, that was the girl's best friend, she went and she like asked her, she was like, hey, are you actually bisexual? Because like I was talking to such and such and he said that you were bisexual. Like, I didn't know this, I thought we were best friends, kind of thing. And then so like, you know, yeah, they ended up not becoming friends. Like, she like, you know, didn't want to be friends with him after that, because she was like, why would you sit there and tell somebody that? Like, that's literally so crazy. Again, mind you, this guy came out himself. So why would you, like, you know, that's just like a common no-no. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you even say? And like, this is why too, like, you know, I just like don't, in general, no matter what the topic is, like, people love running around saying somebody's their best friend, but a lot of people have surface level relationships, so you just don't know. Like, somebody could say that, oh my gosh, that's my best friend, I love her so much, but it's just like, you may tell your best friend everything, but the next person, their label of best friend is just like, oh yeah, we're really close friends, but like, I don't tell her all my business. Like, you know, we don't know like everybody's like each other's secrets like that. Like, you know, some people are generally just like not as close as they may portray or think they are. My example is, if you're chill and easygoing with people but suddenly have no urge in engaging with them, then that's the void energy. They suck the life/fun out of things. That literally happens a lot currently. Like, sometimes I'll just be like, I don't even want to engage like with my roommate, and it's just like, you know, it's not that like it's just like there's just too many signs. Like, I just know like it's not gonna work right. It's gonna be like one of those dynamics where just like I gotta overgive in a situation just to like make something work, and it's just like, that's too much. I'm like done with friendships or whatever that like feel like a whole relationship, because like they want you to carry them mentally, physically, and emotionally, and it like, no, not physically, oh my gosh. I've had friendships where I'm like basically in like a full-blown relationship because like the person's so emotionally unstable, which they're all emotionally unstable. So I'm like carrying them, but like they literally have like boyfriends and like, you know, they're dating people, but they don't have the capacity to entrust their partner with that, but they will like outsource me to like, yeah, no, that's just too much. Then I was just like thinking like recently too, like my mom would always say like, oh my gosh, why aren't you friends with such and such anymore? And I'm just like, because like, that's just too much. Like, again, I was telling my mom, if this girl was a guy, like, this is red flag energy. Like, everybody and their mother would say, oh my gosh, you need to go. But again, it is true. People are very lenient when it comes to females. When people make recommendations for you to be friends with people, go to prom with certain people, and then like they're all like, you know, and sense that there's something off with all of these people that they keep recommending, it just like makes me side eye you and your recommendations, because it's just like, you don't have like, you lack my understanding of safety. Like, you don't understand what's going on. Like, you really don't. And like, it's not, yeah, I don't know. That's just like too much. Like, if you feel like that you're in a relationship, but you're not in a relationship, like this, the friendship is that heavy, and it's just like relationship energy without the romance. It's just like, that's doing too much. And on top of that, mind you, both of you are straight. You have a whole boyfriend? You mean to tell me? This is another thing too that you need to like watch out for, because like they love to like outsource people to like hold them emotionally. They will literally like have a boyfriend that's literally like doing next to nothing for them, and then they'll go and outsource a friend that they're expecting to be there for them every step of the way. That girl, I literally quit being friends with her January 2022. She called me like out of the blue, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm having a mental breakdown right now. I literally called 9 other people before you, and you're the only one that picked up. And I was just like, why am I the only one that picked up? I'm never picking up again. And like, okay, again, this is, mind you, this is a friend, like I've like encouraged her to like go to a therapist. Like, she came to like visit me at my house one time, and like I feel like I did a story time on her a few times. Like, there was just various reasons why I'm like, I'm not gonna be this girl's friend. And then also she would come up with like fake scenarios about being in the house alone with my future husband. And then like, this was like freshman year, I was like, if you're making up a fake scenario, I was telling my mom this, and she was like, well, why does it matter? You're not dating anyone. And I'm just like, no, it's just the fact that she came up with the theory. Don't you think that's weird? It's just like, okay. And then like, I would tell like guy friends too like this, and I'm just like, imagine one of your bros, one of your other bros, like, you know, he's out here making up a fake scenario about being in the house alone with your wife. Even if you're not dating somebody, that's weird. That's bro, like, you know, you're breaking bro code. Like, that's just like, he's gonna side eye you. Because it's just like, why would you even come up with something like that? Like, are you okay? Follows them, and they stay stressed about something. They stress so much. They're always stressing over something. Like, oh my gosh, typically about social influence and positioning, images, everything. Yeah, they typically like stress about that. So like, if other people are like against them in the group, or like they messed up and like, you know, overshared some business that they weren't supposed to, they might stress about that, or try to figure out how to like mitigate the conflict and like revert everything back so they're in like a good social standing. So they might pull somebody else and or like air their dirty laundry out to like make it like, oh my gosh, see, look, I'm not that bad of a person. I'm not like her. She did this, or like, oh, he did that, you know? It's like they'll pull a quick one like that, and suddenly, like, you know, everybody's getting pulled into stuff, and like, yeah. They will literally throw anyone under the bus. Like, I be hearing people do the narrative twisting, and I'm just like, you can just tell too how they're like, some of their friends move around them too. Like, they can just, they know that they lie like that. They do. I don't know why they still be friends with them. Like, it just gives. So like, they're just as messy too. 28. They will repurpose stories, but somehow the others in the friend group never find out their business is spread. This only works on surface level friendship groups because nobody really speaks. Yeah, and like, they're all kind of like, you know, that rotational group. 29, group tends to lack in social and emotional intelligence. How do you not know that you're friends with somebody like this? Like, be for real. And then like, some people will literally pass it off as, oh my gosh, they're just immature. No, ma'am, they literally, it goes way deeper than that. 30, their closest friends, typically someone that isn't the brightest. This is the easiest person to buy their false image and also stick around and accept them through the various on and off cycles. as I mentioned before, you can just kind of hear how they speak too. They typically have like a really, really high pitched voice, and like they don't say anything of substance most of the time. They also themselves don't say anything of substance. Everything that they say is kind of like repurposed. If you're somebody that's really intelligent, they'll like repurpose like what you said and like try to sound like, oh yeah, I keep up with the news, or I know what's going on. I'm connecting the information. I was like, yeah. So I'd be speaking in cryptic because like I had one friend do this. It was a different friend like in high school. She's just like, oh my gosh, like you're not as smart as you think you are. The amount of people that have literally tried to attack me. Oh my god, I never even self-appointed myself or stated that I was smart or whatever. I just love like researching and like finding the deeper things of things, and like observing too, like even like human dynamics and like people and stuff like that. I'm literally making this video. I was like really into like zodiac signs and stuff like that, like Western like astrology, and I would just like ask people like for funsies sometimes. It's like, oh my gosh, like what's your sun sign? And then like I would like see if like their traits, like sometimes there's like sun sign, like their traits would like match like what they do and how they would move. I read somewhere that like Pisces, like they walk like a fish out of water. This one guy that was in my year, he literally had like a very distinct walk. And every time I find out somebody's a Pisces, they do have a very distinct walk. It's like some people it's like more noticeable than others, but it's just like, you're a Pisces. 31, their group tends to reflect them in some way. Fragile ego, low emotional intelligence, image focus, fake friendliness, and whatever is their theme. It's just like sometimes it might just be like the fake friendliness, which is typically like, just a fake social level group. Like, yeah, 32, people walk on eggshells around them or completely distance themselves, even surface level friends. Depending on like if they become like too much drama, like people are just gonna start like dipping or leaving. I noticed like that friend from high school, like he had like a framework, a rotational like framework on how to recruit friends. So he would basically like always talk about his mom and stuff like that. And just like, oh my gosh, my mom this, my mom that. Like, sir, your mom is your best friend and you need to treat her kindly. Out of all the people and the way that you operate, she's gonna be the one that's going to ride or die for you, okay? They toxic like that. How are you gonna sit here and be out here jealous of your mom, complaining about your mom, and then you're like, you should come meet my mom? Literally one of the first things that he says to all of his friends. I even met his mom. Like, he pushed for me to like hang out with him after, like outside of school. And I was just thinking about this too, like every single person that I really didn't want to hang out with outside of like school or whatever, I end up regretting. I didn't even want to hang out with you and you treat me like this. like no, it's just like, really? Like, yeah, no, but it's typically like they have like some type of agenda or whatever. I don't know. Like sometimes I still wonder, just like, why did he even hang out with me? If like 33. They copy personality traits via internet and social interactions to curate their facade to something likable and accepted. They will attempt to befriend people that possess true power and social likability to curate their traits and attempt to gain similar success. Yeah. Kind of mentioned that before. Their real personalities, they tend to be very, very boring people, genuinely. Like, no personality, everything is like fake, socially curated, and again, that's why they tend to have surface level friendship dynamics. Oh my gosh, okay, yeah, they will literally copycat your personality. You have a good personality, something interesting, something, yeah. Honestly, a lot of people typically kind of like curate different aspects of personality traits too. There was this girl I recently found on TikTok. She like kind of like makes marketing videos, like kind of like basically breaks down the marketing framework for some people, like at least like what big corporations are looking for now. And she was just saying, like, you notice like there was like a shortage on authentic personalities, and so basically the requirement is to be authentic, but people actually don't know how to be authentic. So like what they do is like they want the person that they put on like a pedestal to have an authentic personality or some type of authentic brand that's at least perceived as authentic, to be showcased and utilized. With the wave of authenticity, like, you know, you would think that it's going to bring more people to be like themselves and like creative and authentic, but in reality it's just like, you know, it's still like the same dynamic that's going on. It's just like repurposed kind of thing. If the wave of authenticity is like really pushing people to be like more authentic, then people would like literally show up as more authentic. Now everybody's aware that you can like make money off of social media, so like they're like, oh my gosh, let me just try this. And like the amount of people that are like will steal and repurpose somebody's content or like their idea that they literally like came up with is crazy. 34, pathological liars and narrative twisters. Yeah, they will lie so fast. They will lie super fast, and they will twist the narrative. Again, it goes into that image protection typically, or even to like just protect their egos. Because I've heard from high school one time on the phone, like one of his like other like female friends that he literally was like, he was in his room and I was like laying like on my stomach in the guest room on my computer, and okay, and basically this girl, I guess she was like picking out a dress or something like that, and she was like, oh my gosh, can you like go ask her like what does she think about this? And then he was just like, why? And then he was just like, oh, because like I want a girl's opinion. And he was just like, oh, you want a female's opinion, why do you want her opinion? It was like that kind of thing. It's just like they have a mean streak. He lied to that girl so fast. It's like, oh yeah, she said that looks perfectly fine, that one looks good. And I'm just like, did he really just lie that fast? Like he didn't even move, like, he didn't even take his next breath. And then she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She's like, that is so like, you know, I was literally thinking that too. And it's like, people will believe anything. Like, what if he really told you to wear something ugly? Don't put that on my name. Rude. 35, quick reactions. They will spin words out of control in their mind and attack a person verbally. Again, I'm not sure if he made the whole like thing up about like me, like, you know, him accusing me of like gossiping about him to his mom, or if his mom genuinely like, you know, made something up or whatever. But either way, it's just like, that was a very quick reaction. You had the idea to pull my friend into a group chat. Then like once I started calling out things that weren't making sense, it was like, are you okay? Like I'm literally expressing concern. I'm just like, this isn't right. We've had like, at that point we were like, we had like a on again off again friendship, and it's just like, okay, you should not be doing makeup and breakups that often with your friends or any other relationship. Like what are you like, are you okay? Like, come on, are you okay? The quickest way is to reflect things back on them, is to walk through the situation publicly with this person and point out the inconsistencies. They have enough self-awareness to know that they look socially off or questionable. This will quickly attract and shift the blame. Oh, I yeah, that's literally basically what he did. So he was like, oh, I misheard from my mom or whatever, insert whoever person. And or like somebody lied, like when he said that his other friend blocked me when he bought a crop top from the store, and like he said that like, oh my gosh, my friend told me to buy this. She was just like, you don't have to do everything your mom says. Like, why are you listening to your mom? Like, you know, she's one of those girls, like, you know, she's like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And then so like his mom, instead of like, making him take accountability, like, you know, I feel like most people, like, you know, you have parents who are like, if your friends jump off the bridge, are you gonna jump off the bridge? Like, you know, yeah, apparently not. But he bought the crop top, and he was like, oh, my friend made me buy, like, once he started getting to, like, you know, his mom started like, you know, really like badgering him about it. He was like, my friend made me buy it. Like, oh, so she's telling you to defy your mother. And it's just like, why would you jump to that conclusion? I'm just gonna say this. Most of the time, if there's something off with the person, there's something off with the family. They're operating and like enabling their kids like this for a specific reason, whether it's you know, them like operating from like fear of like making a mistake, like if their parents were like too harsh or, you know, borderline abusive or flat out abusive, they're probably going to go like a different route that could literally unconsciously create a person with narcissistic personality traits, if not the full-blown, like, you know, some type of personality disorder in general. But yeah. So 36, must know or feel like people are on their side. I feel like I said that earlier. I don't know. Some of this stuff might get deleted. But then again, maybe like I feel like I said so much information that's probably like brain blob, you know? 37, job specifically tests for people with these personality types tend to get the positions unqualified for as their tactics and image presentation seems to be put together enough for them to just like slide through the systems. Like the systems are very surface level. They don't test for any like depth or like, do you actually know how to do this? Like, you know, you may not be a good tester, but you might know how to do the job better than anybody out of the thousands of people that applied. And then so interview questions are never super deep, which is the perfect structure for them. Also, people don't know how to read people well and are typically dissatisfied with their hire because they selected what looked great on paper. The world is in black and white and requires deeper analysis. So like, you know, the world's a grayscale. Number 38, overly talkative and attempts to give a warm and fuzzy vibe that isn't authentic. That is true. But truly fragile and vulnerable internally. Okay, so when I first hung out with my friend from undergrad, honestly, even like hanging at like, you know, speaking with him in ceramics class, that was very like, you know, he kind of had like this warm fuzzy vibe kind of thing, like, oh my gosh, like like soft gentle natured person, you know. And then when we hung out outside of school, like his mom was also like that too, like very like, you know, just soft fuzzy vibes, like, oh hi, nice to meet you, let me hug you kind of thing. Like, okay, like a lot of cultures like hug when like they meet, like okay, I don't know, I'm not really like the huggy type though, like, you know, like I'll hug people, but I'm like, okay, like maybe like the first like 1 to 2, maybe 3 times that I like meet a person, but like it really just like depends. Like I'm not really like the huggy type, but like okay, but if they're like Latino and like, you know, it's like a cultural thing, like I know, but like if they're like made in America, like do we really have to hug? We can do a handshake. We can do a fist bump. A lot of like my Chinese friends, they're not really like huggy touchy. And I was like, you guys are my people. But like now we hug because like we know each other. But it's just like when you first meet, it's just like, we don't have to hug. Yeah, I'm like my roommate and her mom, like it's just like, I don't know, it's just like I was just having like such huge deja vu to the point that like, okay, like I wasn't like trying to be rude, but like her and her mom, like they tried to like reach out and hug me, and I was just like, I don't know, like something was just like, don't hug, because, you know, hugs and like physical affection, like that's just like typically like, you know, that's like a tactic too, so like people can get like nurturing vibes and like soften you up. And like, you know, people try to use like hugs, kisses and stuff like that to like manipulate you, and like, you know, again, she tries to probe people to literally get certain reactions so she can get like nurturing vibes from people. Yeah, a lot of people do this. A lot of people with these traits do this. Like it's just again, personality types, like, you know, different person, same tactics, it's that. But yeah, but then like, you know, like, oh, they weren't like mad or anything, like when I like did their like the handshake, they were like, oh, she just prefers a handshake. Okay, the truly fragile and vulnerable internally, deep down, again, number 39, this is why they have a sharp mean streak that is truly off-putting. They are very, very mean. The ruthlessness, the competitive nature, it's just, oh my gosh. They also get tired out really fast though too, so like, you know, you have them running in circles, like, yeah. Okay, so there was this one situation where my friend from high school, there was like a few times where I like heard him on the phone like going off at other people, like he was like talking about somebody behind their back, and like again, he had one of those surface level like friend groups where like they would like kind of like talk about each other and stuff like that behind each other's backs, but then like once they had a common enemy, they were like this suddenly, like there was like, don't you talk about my friend, don't you talk about my friend, and I'm like, weren't you just talking about your friend yourself? Like like, I mean, like, and I just like, you just like hear and like see these like reactions like, oh my gosh, like you won't believe who was talking mess. And I was just like, oh, who's talking mess? So glad I was graduated. I was just like, y'all are too much. Like, there were some people like too, like that just like seem really messy. Like in my year, like I was just like, please don't talk to me. I want to be in the back. And I was just like, I would just have like, I perfected my RBF face. I was like, 6th grade. Okay, that's not a good RBF face. Like I'm kind of hungry. 40. So overly sensitive and wants to be nurtured, have control over their environment or their surroundings and social image. It hurts them to the core when people think negatively about them, even when it's true, but they can get very dangerous and hold grudges. The passive aggressive nature and uncontrollable emotions. That's very big, like seriously. They don't think things through and act and emotions, not genuine wisdom. So, and then we'll flip a narrative. When you point out something doesn't make sense, it's about getting people on their side at all costs, even when they are wrong. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know why that's so choppy. I don't know, but the autocorrect has literally been super insane. And I'm just like, literally, I'll just be typing and I'm just like, what is going on here? Some of these questions are kind of like a repeat, so I'm like, I'm not even going to like do like a whole like thing about that. I don't know, we'll just see. I have like 3 hours of footage almost now, 2 hours and 38 minutes, so probably a little bit more than that. Yeah, but thank you guys for watching the video, and if you made it this far, I don't know, if you're watching 3 hours, you might need to log in if you want to see the whole thing. But yeah, some of the examples and yeah, I might make a 2-part 3-part series or something. I don't know, I have to break this up. No, and we're gonna try to make this into like at least a 45-minute video with a 2-hour 3-hour footage, depending on what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. But basically, it's time to go, and I am starving. I'm gonna have tomato soup and peanut butter and jelly, and I'm gonna watch the show I've been watching. I'm going. Oh my gosh. Well, the song is I'm coming up. I want the world to know. Hopefully this goes viral and this blows up. Honestly, I thought this was gonna be like a 10-minute video, but then I'm just like, you know, with all the examples, see, look, I kind of like over explain things because a lot of people are missing context clues, and like people like, sometimes you can even like older generation people too. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great time. Bye bye now.